Morning, Uncle Anton.
Morning, Chad.
Today I would like us to talk just a bit more on the topic of trust. Maybe the first thing for me is, how do you normally trust a person?
Chad, it's a trust. Trust is a very broad statement to make, because many years ago I grew up with my grandparents, and my granddad used to say, if you distrust everyone that you meet, eventually you end up with no one to trust. And then can you trust yourself? So trust, to a great extent, my view about trust is a relationship thing. You build a relationship with someone, and out of that you start determining how trustful he is. So trust is I think it's a very personal thing. It's a way of life. You need to trust someone, or you need to trust something until it goes wrong. When it goes wrong, you need to understand what is the conditions around it, what caused it to go wrong, and then move forward. And if something has created a trustworthy event, keep it in mind next time. Understand next time that, I'll trust you, but it must be trust must be a mutual agreement. If I want you to trust me, I must treat you in a trustful manner. I must exert trust. Companies, to a great extent, like to profess that they a trustworthy institute. But then when you look at the executives and their businesses, and you look at the way they treat their people, trust is the furthest away from their mind. The old way of managing an 8 to 5. You need to be at work at 8 and you need to go home at 5, because that's the only way I can trust you doing work. And you've got a commitment that you've made as an individual, as a person, in your personal space. You make a commitment to your wife. What makes her trust you? To your children, what makes them trust you? Your actions. Strange enough, we were speaking a bit earlier on when you were saying it, as that first 7 years in a youngster's life. It is not just a youngster. It's the first couple of months, the first few years in a relationship between two grown adults that makes trust grow as well. When you get to someone and you don't know him from a bar of soap, when you deal with a client and you don't know who they are, what do you call it trust, or do you call it hope? You got to hope that something is not going to go wrong. You're hoping that everyone sticks to their commitment. But as they go along, and as their activity improves, and as their commitment, as your role strengthens as well, and you deliver to your commitment, the mutual trust grows between the two parties. The biggest thing, I think, that drives trust, or creates a platform for trust, is respect. And I'm sure we'll get to that subject. But without respect, you can't trust someone, you can't love someone. It's just not possible. My view is just that trust is not, it's not a definite process. You have to trust someone, and you have to trust, if someone doesn't deliver, you have to also trust that there was a reason for him not to do it, and not turn trust into judgment. But trust is not, trust is not like love. Trust is, when I get up here and I walk to the door, I've got to trust that the door will open, knowing that it will open. I've got to, when I get into my car and I start my car, I trust that it will start. So an individual, if I have you trusted me to the fact that I would be ready to discuss this with you. What if I wasn't? What if I wasn't ready? Would you have said, well, that's just it. I set the meeting and it just never happened, so I can't trust this guy. So but I could have had an important meeting.
Yeah, because for me, trust is more a thing of character than situational based.
Absolutely.
So if you lean into a situation and saying that person didn't deliver, I don't think that's the right way to assess trust.
That's it.
And for me, it's always about to that character, like you said, is there's a reason that person, it's not in his character to not be prepared. It's not in his character for him to miss this.
100%. But, you know, we've just got to be careful that even if it is in the character of someone, and you know that, if it hasn't happened to you, don't not have trust in someone, in what you hear from someone else. Trust is it's a personal thing. You've got to personally experience it. And we fall into the trap by hearing that they say, well, you can't trust that guy. You cannot trust this guy. And you say, well, okay, well, I'm not going to deal with him because I don't trust him. But he's never done something to you. So, you know, it's trust is a big issue. If you show trust in someone, trust is a confidence provider as well. You know, you don't trust you want trust. But if you show trust, you can motivate. If you show trust, you can fix a problem. You can make someone believe they can do something that is really a stretch for their ability. But because someone is showing trust in me, I'm willing to do it. So isn't that really what we should be saying to businesses? You know, instead of managing your business with an iron fist, go and tell your staff, go and tell your people that I know this is a big mountain to climb, but I trust you can. And I will support you. And if it doesn't happen the way we should, we deal with it when it happens. But I trust that you will do what you can and do the best you can.